So I mean this as a compliment in case it comes out bad, since I'm no good at really anything. But even though this isn't necessarily what I would consider to be my style or type of car, this thing is super cool. It's in amazing condition. It's got 90-inch wheels, super low. Got a nice motor in it, Holley Terminator X. So from what I understand, this was actually tuned at another shop. Unfortunately, it had to come in on a tow truck a few months ago because it wouldn't idle. So we just did some parking lot stuff and got it kind of going in that regard. In all fairness, it has actually been a little bit of a hassle getting this one to idle compared to most, but it seems to be pretty good now. And it just got dropped off to actually go through it and retune it from scratch. Cold start's not very good, and all in all, like looking through the file that's in it, it's basically just a Holley base map with the injector size changed. So we're just going to start all over, go through it. I've basically changed everything at this point. Got it started running, made a few changes, but more or less we're right here at the beginning, and here we go.
You shut the fuck up! How would you like to die today, motherfucker?
I think hell would be more enjoyable than this building. Got it starting and idling pretty good. Had to bang out like 30% out of the fuel table to get things in check. Jesus Christ. So since this is an auto trans, we're gonna do all of the tuning in third gear. And then once we finish with that, assuming everything's good to go, then we'll rip it through the gears a few times to make sure all the gear change stuff's working correctly. Gonna start it, let it get fully warmed up, and then we'll start doing the part throttle fuel tuning. Thought I smelled fuel, and there's literally 10 gallons of gas on the floor. This is not good. There's so much I can't even tell where it's coming from. The good news is that it happened to me on the dyno and not him while he's out on the road. This is this could have bad news written all over it. Seems like it was actually an easy fix. The fitting was just not clicked into place on the fuel filter. Now the problem is all of this gas on the floor. I need to do something with it so I don't blow the whole building up. And there isn't really an easy solution here. So let me try and figure this out. Hopefully I can kind of keep going. Guess I'll let it run for a few minutes to make sure it's not going to do it again before I waste my time cleaning it up. It smells so bad in here, I'm going to be floating around in a minute.
I get high because bitches are whack.
That's not good. Guess I'll have to jack it up and try and take a better look. When I pushed the fitting together, you actually heard like an audible click. I thought we got lucky, but I forgot I don't get lucky. Yep, that fitting's pulled. This is the one that was not clicked in before. Oh, right in the eyeball. God damn it. Just had to run to the auto parts store and grab a bunch of these fittings. They had the wrong fitting on it. Now everything clicks into place and does what it needs to do. Downside is I'm completely covered in fuel. I'm gonna have to go home and take a shower. And before I do that, I think I'm gonna have to get a hose and just spray the whole place out. So even though it's only like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, this might just kind of be the end of the day for this. So anyone who's contacted me wondering why scheduling is such a disaster, this is it. All right, went home, took a shower, and gonna try this again. Decided to come back. Floor's nice and clean now. It smells like rotten hell in here. Should be good enough to try this again. So it's been about 3.5 hours between cleaning up, running to the auto parts store, and cleaning myself. Don't think we're gonna get this finished today now. Shut up. And we're gonna need to let the car warm back up again. So I'll do all that and then we'll get going. I have the Learn turned off, and we're gonna drive around a little bit and make some corrections. I have a sneaking suspicion that this thing's probably gonna try and fight me a little bit. fuel graph's gonna look like total hell. So we'll go through and manually smooth all this out, and then we'll try it again. This is actually going pretty well. I probably got it enough where I can do the finishing touches kind of as I keep going through the gears to do the full throttle stuff. So we'll probably get ready to start doing that now. So these four-wheeler and dirt bike guys at my shop are probably going to make me commit suicide. I'm in no position to complain about noise, but that's just a different level of annoying. Well, they like work on them. I guess they test drive them up and down the parking lot, but they'll go like 200 miles an hour and they're gonna kill somebody. But it's like every time they pass my place, they gotta push the clutch in and rev it like a jackass 300 times. Either way, you're gonna like that HP way more than the Terminator X. Kind of a bastard ass way to get there, but yeah, absolutely. It's unfortunate that you kind of had the issues leading up to it, because I would have asked if you just sort of noticed what I noticed, that you go from a Terminator X to a Dominator HP, and I swear you can just feel a difference in the way that the car runs, even if everything else is similar. That would be my assumption. I mean, the difference in price, you would assume that there's some hardware stuff going on inside of there. I wish I kind of knew all the ins and outs and the specific differences, but if you use both back to back, you can absolutely tell the difference. And now you're gonna have so many more options for custom tables and offsets, and just yeah, it's worth the extra money. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the Terminator X for a lot of the guys that don't even maybe understand what the differences are, and they'll never use any of that stuff. But for somebody like yourself, yeah, you needed that HP. Sweet. So now yeah, maybe you won't want to punch Holley in the face anymore. Yeah, really. So are you at the point where you're almost out of things that can go wrong? Awesome. Yeah, that's usually the way it goes. You throw a deadline into the equation and everything goes bad 10 times more. So do you have like somewhere where you can take it and beat up on it a little bit and get some data without going to jail? All right, man, sounds good. That's it. It'd be cool if you could spend a bunch of money on a machine where you could actually test drive the vehicles in your facility. Probably be a lot better than potentially killing everybody. Revved a little higher than I usually would on a first pull, but air fuel was pretty solid. Ah, bitch, I gotta start a whole new... I throw all my logs into a file for each car, and I haven't done that yet, so let me do all that crap. Looks like we got a little too much acceleration enrichment going on. And all right. People are nuts. This is not a 40. So there's a distillery right down the street that I've never been to that apparently is pretty good. And Tyler just showed up with a bottle of gin, which is a kind of convenient day to do that. Tyler's got a pretty big YouTube channel, so if you haven't checked that out, I'll throw a link to that. And go tell him thank you for making my day better. Damn, we're already at 70% duty cycle. All right, let's make some changes. A little better, still a little rich in the mid-range. Hopefully 1 or 2 more runs and we'll have the fuel straight. So everything's pretty good until we get to what, like 4,500 or so. Try a little bit more timing on this run and see where we're at. $365, so I like that. We scroll through this log. 1%, 2%. That's pretty damn close. You start running around in circles if you start trying to chase much more than that. Let's say after 61, we'll pull a touch of fuel out. And then make sure our graph doesn't look like trash. Pretty reasonable. So you can probably see that this isn't like craziest, smoothest thing you've ever seen, and that's why I try not to use any of these smooth buttons. You actually usually end up needing a little bit of coarseness to it. Now you don't want it to look like a damn earthquake, but yeah, some look cleaner and smoother than others. Like we got a little bit of a dip here and then up here, and but all in all, this is about what I suspect. There's a spot somewhere in here that I need to touch up when we're just kind of cruising up. It looks like it wants a little bit more fuel. And since it liked that timing, we'll try, that was 2 degrees. We'll try 2 more. I actually pulled 4 degrees out from where I thought it was gonna be. So it makes sense that the first 2 made a pretty significant difference. The next 2 will probably make a little bit more, but not quite as much if I had to guess. But every car is different, and that's why we treat them all as if we have no idea what's going to happen. So there's a little bit more timing. Let's see what happens. Sweat my nuts off. I'm not sure I've ever heard a car make that noise before. Ironically, the fueling is dead nuts, but looks like the throttle's not opening all the way. Good old floor mat problem. Alright, I'm not quite sure what that weird noise was, so we're just going to try it again and pay attention for it this time. $369.5. I don't remember what it was the last run. 365 maybe? The weird noise went away. Here you can just sort of see each change gains a little bit. Let's just see what we did on the last 2. Well, I'm not counting the weird noise one, we'll get rid of that. Yeah, so 5 or 6 horsepower. So I'm gonna yank 1 degree out from where we currently are. Scroll through this log at 0, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0. That's pretty damn close. There's a couple of like spikes where it's like maybe 1 or 2% off, but there's no extended periods of time, so I'm not going to chase that. 75% duty cycle, so I would say if he plans on doing anything else to add power, might want to consider going to bigger injectors. And I almost forgot to show you my favorite part of this whole car. Got a car phone, and to match it, we actually have a mechanical pencil. Can't remember the last time I saw a pencil, let alone a mechanical pencil. Oh, and I just noticed this. Pretty sure that's Biggie. If so, I need that air freshener for myself. I'm gonna let it cool off for a minute and run it through the gears. Hopefully I only have to make like 1, maybe 2 runs. And I didn't think that we'd get this finished today, but it looks like we might. And this is nice too, because this will give me an opportunity tomorrow to just verify the cold start. When I pulled it in yesterday with the previous tune, the cold start wasn't very good, so hopefully we can make it better. So far I'd say it's running significantly better than previously, so hopefully the owner of the car will feel the same way. All right, let's see what this thing wants to do. I guess I should change a couple settings over here first, huh? Now it feels like the throttle body's stuck. At least that one's an easy fix. That sounded and felt really good. I just gotta verify my shift points and we should be good. It always picks up a little bit of power on the gear change stuff because there's just flares and slippage and whatever. But I think those numbers are kind of irrelevant. That's a big part, I think, of why you see so many guys doing gear changes for kind of no reason. So let's check it out. That's right about where I wanted it. I think I commanded it like 6,200 to try and shift to 65. All right, the T3, I'm actually going to bring the shift RPM down a little bit. And 3.4 is good. And once we got into 4th, the dyno actually slowed it down. I didn't speed up the max speed. I think there's a little too much after start enrichment in it, so I'm going to try that out real quick. Took a little too much out. Let's try it again. Way better. Alright, I don't know where I left off. I got interrupted 150 times, so we're just going to call this good here on this video. I'll play with the cold start and stuff in the morning, make sure we're good to go. Glad that we were able to work through this and get it going. With that fuel leak, it seemed like that might have been the end of the day. That's going to do it for this video. As always, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.